Just a quick note, we got some really helpful feedback from numerous folks that are on and folks that aren't on, weren't able to join us tonight, about improving Roundtable and moving, especially trying to move items that could be accomplished via email as announcements, moving them out of Roundtable and not going through a bunch of announcements. So you will see a streamlined presentation, as well as we heard loud and clear the request for more time for breakout. And so we have streamlined the slides, and there'll be more time for networking in the breakouts. I'm Ryan Spellacy. I am the District Commissioner for Southern Shores, and John Unger, I believe, is on the call, but he's at work, and so it's difficult for him to talk because there's a bunch of machines running in the background, and Nathan is here as well. So just a reminder, if you haven't done it already, please change your name and include whether you're with a pack or a troop, because that'll help Nathan when we go to the breakouts. He'll know, oh, okay, this is Rich Ronsvug with troop whatever, and so he'll put you into the Scouts BSA, and if you're with a pack, he'll put you in with the pack. And I suppose if you're with two, I see numerous folks are with both a pack and a troop, maybe just wherever you want to be. If you want to be with the Cubs, put pack whatever. If you want to be with the Scouts BSA, put your name as a troop. Okay, and so here's our agenda real quick. We'll get right into it with an opening ceremony. And I practiced, and I'm not confident in my Zoom capabilities to switch my computer audio. So I'm just going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Two. Okay, and this is just to let everyone know that our membership committee, which is one of the key committees at the district level, the position of chair is vacant. So if you know of somebody who would be good at running the membership committee, let us know. They don't have to be experts in this. What we're looking for is an effective leader. And if you would like to get involved in this and you would like to maybe throw your hat in the ring for chair of membership committee, please also let us know. Myself, John Unger, or Nathan would be great. Nathan, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, just a quick update. We are having a leader recruitment training webinar. Heather's actually going to be leading it. But basically, it's just going to be a training to get people to understand how to recruit people at a den level. The reason we asked Heather to do that is she did that with one of her dens and brought in a lot of scouts. And right now, it's probably one of the best ways we can invite scouts to join our organization. So a webinar went out, registration link through the council last week, and then through the district newsletter that went out yesterday as well as our district Facebook page. So there's a number of ways to watch it or register for it. It will be recorded and posted on our council website to view at a later time as well.
Thanks, Nathan. And you'll note, thanks for bringing up the different ways that this has been shared. We are still doing some announcements, but they're announcements that we believe are really important. And so there will still be announcements like this, but it's things that are so important. We don't just want a chance that you missed the email or didn't open it. We want to make sure that things like this really important den recruitment webinar, and Heather, thanks for doing it, is that we get the word out on this in as many ways as possible to make sure nobody misses it. From the commissioners, I will just briefly state that these are our unit commissioners again. If you are interested in being a unit commissioner, or you would like your unit to have a unit commissioner, let me know. And importantly, we are going to help you with, we'll be reaching out to you in regards to rechartering. Rechartering is now, and we're gonna start looking at the units and making sure that folks are logging in and checking in. So when you hear from your unit commissioner or myself, if you don't have one, that's what it's about. So if everything's going great, we're not gonna hassle you with emails, but if we're seeing that things aren't progressing as perhaps they should, especially with the time change that rechartering is due at the end of December as opposed to later in the year, we're going to be hammering on this one to make sure nobody falls behind. And Dick, are you on the call for this one? All right, I'll do it. So rechartering is due in December, not February, right? And that's due. Earlier in a district commissioner call, I made the mistake in front of Dick of saying, Dick Kroll, of saying that rechartering is in December. And Dick corrected me, no, rechartering is now. It's due in December, and he's absolutely right. I misspoke. Rechartering is due in December, which means start now. Now's the time to make sure that your unit, whoever handles rechartering for your unit, is aware that it's time to start and start the process early. It's online. In years past, we would be picking up our packets at the face-to-face roundtable, but this is all online. And take a look at, have your unit rechartering person, chair, whomever it is, make sure that they are checking on YPT now, because just like last year, if any adult is a leader and their YPT is not current, and pay attention to when it expires, because if it expires between now and December, it's got to be renewed. If it's not current, the system will not, just like last year, won't let you proceed with an expired YPT. You will have to either fix that, and the leader will have to complete and update their YPT, or as the case happens, you might have to drop them and they would have to sign up. There is a Zoom noted here. We'll be reminding you and sending this out, but there is a Zoom on rechartering as well, October 14th at 7 p.m. And my box is sliding there. Oh yeah, so if apparently it's 7 p.m. Central US time, and that's for those of you who were worried, both US and Canada. So thanks for that. Now we're gonna go to breakouts. Any questions before we go? All right, we're about to go to breakout rooms, and our breakout topic for this, specific to Cubs and Scouts BSAs, because it's a little different, how to recruit adult volunteers, how to get leaders and parents involved in our troops. And we've got two great presenters that will introduce themselves in their rooms. These are folks who have had some really great successes with recruiting adults, and they'll share their tips with you. But we also envision this as an interactive participation. Even our presenters don't have all the answers. So if you've got tips, if you've got best practices that worked in the past for you in recruiting adults to become volunteers and leaders, we would love to hear them. The more ideas, the better. And with that, we're going to start moving over to our breakout rooms. Any questions before we go? All right, see you in the breakout rooms. Thanks, everyone.
Hey, Ryan, would you record the breakout room you're going to? I've got Pixel 3 XL. Would you like to go to the Cub room or Boy Scout room?
Sorry, I'm driving. Boy Scouts.
That I'm here for. So
okay.
I'm here for 5:30 as I'm filling back in for roles that I used to pretend to do well. Just continue with our pack and things can move forward.
Nathan, has everyone moved over at this point?
I believe so. I don't see anyone in the waiting room anymore.
Okay, kind of a small group, but hopefully we can have a nice conversation here. So we have on the agenda to talk about the number one complaint I hear from all leaders everywhere, especially in Scouts, is where do I get volunteers from? I don't want to do everything myself. I can't do everything myself. I need help, and we need to. So I certainly have some ideas to share and things to think about, but I'd really like to start a conversation of what you've done in your groups I see a couple experienced leaders that I know on the call personally that I'm sure you guys have had some success in some kind over the years. Otherwise, we wouldn't exist. So where do you recruit your den leaders from? Where do you get your treasurer from? Your person who's going to run your Pinewood Derby concession stand or whatever. Why don't we start with Mike? Do you have any good ideas? What have you found? One thing that you've been successful with finding volunteers?
I don't know if I've been all that successful in it, but one thing that I've found is when someone says, like, starts out like, oh, I can't be a leader, but I can help out a little bit. It's like a foot in the door towards asking them to do a little bit more. Well,
if nobody else volunteers, I'd be happy to help, right? One of those sometimes. Have you had trouble, Mike? What's your role, first of all?
I'm the Cub Master for Pack 57.
And do you have a den leader for every den age group?
I'm actually the den leader for 2 different dens right now.
That's not a good sign, Mike.
No, I'm trying to talk one of the new tiger parents into taking over the tiger den, but it's been challenging, especially with the smaller recruitment levels this year. But I'm working on it. So hopefully I'll pick up some good advice tonight that I can use.
How many children are in the scouts or in the tiger den?
3 right now.
3? Okay. Okay, I have some ideas for you. So you mentioned listening to clues. So listening to your parents, and there's a lot of clues that you'll hear in what they say. Things like, well, if nobody else volunteers, I'd be happy to help. I used to say that a lot, actually, when I first started in scouting, because I was like, oh, I don't know what this is. I'm not sure what I'm getting myself into, but I am someone willing to raise my hand, right? I think it's a lot of people, or some people anyway. Mr. Grand, what do you think? What's one thing you found successful in finding somebody to help you?
Well, I'm just going to say, first off, those words that were coming out of your mouth when you said, well, I don't know what Riley Lake is, but I'm willing to give it a shot. And you and I went out there with some scouts and had a good time. So
yeah, I had no idea how to do it right, but we found it. We camped overnight. We had a good time, right?
Mm-hmm. That was my second or third time out there, and I really enjoyed that camp. As far as Cub Scouts, though, it's really tough because most of the time my wife has been involved with the Cub Scouts as a den leader, and I was more involved at the troop levels. As far as that goes, there's different challenges to get leaders. There's more of a hands-off approach, obviously, than with Cub Scouts. What I've seen is that if you get a good group of involved parents and one is the leader, then they all feed off of each other. We have a couple of healthy dens that have multiple parent participation. So one person is the actual den leader, but they rotate through the duties of a den leader, and I see those typically surviving the burnout that happens from a den leader who is doing it all and doing it all with very little parental support, and sometimes even disruption by the parents of, well, you're not doing it the way that I think you should, and then the parent who argues are the ones that don't step forward. So it's a tough spot to be in. As far as like committee, personally look for clues for people, ask them what they're doing, for their work, and create relationships, because that's really what it is creating relationships with people. And I can tell you that if someone is friendly with you and talks with you, they're more likely to join a committee or be on a committee with you. But if you're kind of a jerk, they're going to say no immediately when asked for help. So try to meet people where they're at, and I don't know if that's helpful to anybody, but that's the approach that I take.
I think it's helpful. You hit on one of my points. It's on my list, is setting a good tone. I actually go over this concept with scouts who are working on their Eagle Scout projects. When we go over, I mentor scouts working on their projects, and I say you need to be a cheerleader for your project, and you can't come into your Cub meeting or your Eagle Scout project saying, oh, it's such a hard day today. Oh, this is so much work. We don't have enough leaders, and just be a Debbie Downer. I know this sounds really, really basic, but you need to come in being a happy person and somebody people want to be around.
Mhm.
And because people are attracted to happy people, even if you've had a bad day. And I know that's, I'm not saying you can't be human by any means, but I'm just saying watching your tone is really important in trying to be positive about scouting, and that this is important. This is important work that we're doing. So so trying to be a cheerleader and influence others around you to be the same, I think is helpful.
I
Hey
think too.
Maggie, I see you're on the phone, or Matt. We want to share anything that you guys have found successful over the years in 251? Maybe not. Okay, how about Steve? Steve, Jim, Pack 534.
Yep.
Hi, Steve.
Well, recruitment is my problem this year, basically, because I haven't had any really good recruitment to try to recruit parents, and I've been having scouts come in. My issue right now is I've got almost anyone that's already in the pack leaders helping out, but that also puts me as, Cub Master, I'm treasurer, and a den leader right now. Because last year I had a bunch of people cross over that were my core group of people that help run stuff and do stuff too. So right now it's for me trying to recruit new scouts so I get more parents to work with, try to help out with leadership positions. But when I did have them come in, it's basically communication, seeing what they would, kind of did for living with that parent survey, seeing where they can try to help out and just asking them to step up. And my biggest thing with a lot of my parents right now is, especially with everything going on, is their lack of time being able to commit to it.
Have you tried breaking the problem down a little bit? Something that I've done in the past is maybe you don't need to commit to being the den leader, but can you commit to running one meeting? Or can you commit to being the cupcake person for the Pinewood Derby? I've had a pretty hard rule for my time in Pack 231 and Troop 218 that every parent has to do something, whether it's a big job or a little job. And it can be anything. So when a parent tells me, no, I'm too busy, I'm like, okay, I get that you can't be the Cub Master, but could you possibly be in charge of the snack at the next den meeting? Give them a job as a starting point. Have you tried anything like that, Steve?
Well, some people, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and some people, you're right. Some people are just hard nosed. So I guess when you can get those nibbles to try to build on that then, right? To say, okay, great, you brought the cupcakes this time. How about you give them, it's kind of a sales job that we're in as the main leadership. So, and when you said you're struggling with recruiting, are you talking scouts or are you talking parents? Scouts, yeah. I think that's.
Scouts come the parents then to work with after that, and that's where I've got the lack of right now from a small pack.
Fair point. And how big is your pack?
10.
Okay. Yeah, it's tough. I don't think anyone's been wildly successful at recruiting, to be honest. So we're going to talk about that a little bit on Thursday, but you're right. With scouts come parents, and hopefully those parents come with the willingness to help a little bit. Ben, with Pack 596, is there anything that you've had success in over the years, of any kind of strategy you've tried?
Boy, I've always been just really lucky until once my youngest got a little older, I realized I didn't have the contacts in the lower grades anymore. And that kind
Good
of
point.
took me by surprise a little bit. And then with the way the shutdown happened kind of in March, it just kind of abruptly brought things to an end. And, you know, we were talking about it with our leaders now, and it was just kind of such a strict end and transition that, well, we didn't really transition. It was last year's Arrow of Light Scouts just kind of moved on without much of a transition period. So that's been a challenge for us because we lost some good parents. So
But
we're
I'm saying, let's
go ahead.
pretend it's, what about last year? What's a strategy? Did they just fall in your lap and everyone raised their hand, or did you do something special to talk them into it?
I wish I could say I did something special. Other than, you know, I guess it's just always being aware of who the younger brothers and sisters were. And just making sure there was, you know, we always had a plant in every grade level. And like I
see.
said, as I am nearing the end of my time as Cub Master, I find that's a lot more difficult than it used to be.
So what about your job? Do you have a transition plan for you?
That I do. That I
Okay,
do.
congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And is it somebody, how, is it somebody who's up and coming, or?
He's got a lion.
He's got, all right,
Yeah.
perfect. That's a good feeling, right?
Yes, it is.
Well, hopefully,
I want to leave the pack in good shape for him. That's all.
yeah, I think that's all of our dream, right? I've been out of pack 321. My cub who is in there is now 21 years old, and I still check up on him because I put a lot of work into those guys and making sure that they were strong. I came in, they had 12 scouts, and I left, they had 65 scouts in there. So I want them to still be doing good. So I get it. You know, why do all this work and have them fall apart? So
I think what you mentioned about being positive, I think that's just so incredibly important. Even if it's acting, just pretend, because, you know, I think ultimately, even your smallest efforts, they're going to help someone. And so even if things aren't always going the way that you wish they were, by keeping a positive attitude, you're always moving in the right direction, even if it's at a slower rate than you wish.
Where is 596 out of?
St. Alphonsus in Greendale.
Okay.
So
great. And so what about one more thing that you mentioned. So with this gentleman taking over who has a lion, what kind of transition plan do you have in place for him?
Well, I wish he was here tonight. I'm trying to get him to come to the roundtables. But one thing I was considering, because my youngest son is actually a Weeblo this year, so he'll be Arrow of Light next year. I was thinking of having him take over as Cub Master next year and me kind of be an assistant Cub Master.
I want to say I feel that's a really great idea. So at the troop level,
Sorry, you all should be getting an invitation to join a breakout room if that showed up on your screen.
No, I don't have that.
Why is this not working? I guess I can't assign breakout rooms from. All right, I'm going to move you to the other breakout room to move you back, basically to reset it.
Now I got it.
All right, you should have it now. All right, Mr. Groff, you should be okay to accept the pack one. Mr. Bauer, Don, are you in Scout breakout room or Cub breakout room?
Sorry about that. I'm not sure. I just was joining. I usually, Matt Boswell usually calls in. Has he called in already?
No, I don't believe so. So
Troop
are you in a pack
532?
or, are you in a pack or troop? Sorry.
Or troop, I'm sorry,
Okay.
troop 532.
Okay. All right. You should be getting the invitation now. I thought I could send you to breakout room straight from being in a breakout room, but apparently I have to come back to the main room. So my apologies
Okay.
on the wait.
That's all good. We'll have to figure it out.
All right.
What's
Thanks.
the background? Where are you at right now?
Oh, it's from a movie.
Cool.
All right. Did you get the invitation yet?
Is it supposed to show up in the email?
Yeah. Here, let me try to reset it. All right. Should say Scout BSA room or something like that.
All right. Nothing yet. Huh.
Hey, Nathan. I was in the breakout room, and then I got moved over to the troop for some reason.
Okay. Let me.
Although I'm in both, the pack more concerns me, though.
Yeah. You should get a new invitation now.
Okay, thanks. Sorry, I
working?
dropped the call before, and I don't know what
That's
happened.
all right.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
Hey, Nate, that hasn't, can you resend that thing? Or for some reason it hasn't shown up in my email yet.
It shouldn't show up on your email. It should show up on your screen.
Oh, screen. Okay, hold on.
On the Zoom call.
Weird. Hold on. All right. So, join a meeting. Is that what? No, wait.
Yep.
Oh, so hit join a meeting?
Yep.
Let me see. Come on, Don. Man, it doesn't like that. Come on. That's you. Move you over. Oh, what the hell?
Sorry, you're muted. I can't seem to unmute you. I'm going to try to reset it again. So it'll show up. It may show up on your screen as pack invitation, and then.
Okay, so I'm back.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm going to have to reset it. So give me just a second. So it may show up as the pack invitation. Don't accept that. And then I'll move you back over to the troop.
Okay.
All right. Anything showing up on your screen now?
Chat scare screen. It says breakout rooms.
Yes.
So try to look into breakout rooms.
Yes.
You have been assigned to breakout room troops.
I think a lot of us volunteer for different reasons. I originally started as a leader because I wanted a strong, healthy program for my child. I knew if I was in charge of it, it'd be good. So, and I'm happy to provide that for other children too. It's turned into something more for me than just my child over the years. Like I said, he's 21 and I'm still around. And now I have a 6-year-old that's coming up as a tiger. And I'm involved for him, but I'm also involved in stuff like this because I just see value in general for all children, and I want that to continue. So anyway, anybody else want to, I think we've covered everybody on the call. So I'm going to share my ideas, and you guys can tell me if I'm crazy or not, or throw things at the screen, or whatever you like to do is fine. But top of my list is tone. So being that cheerleader, like we've mentioned already. And I really, does everyone know the inventory, the parent inventory list? Does everyone use that? because and even if you haven't done it before, or even if you've done it before, one, I recommend it to give it to your new line parents. And and I'm an HR lady, so one thing that I do every year is I'll send out to my employees a note saying, I need your current name, address, and phone number, and it all needs to be updated by this date. You can do the same thing with your pack, and say, oh, and by the way, fill out this parent inventory. And that can give you some clues what these people do. Are they a carpenter? Do they have horses? Do they love snowmobiling? I don't know, whatever. And that will give you some clues to start from. So make it a habit once a year, hand out that inventory and collect it. Make it a shareable form, make it a Google form, or use the paper. All of it is useful. I think one thing as leaders we don't always do a great job of is to communicate what we actually need. Sometimes we just take it all on ourselves and we don't actually say, hey, I really could use somebody to lead the Pinewood Derby. I'm a Scoutmaster. I already have a lot of jobs. And whether you communicate that verbally in a meeting, in a Sign Up Genius, or in an email, just get it out there that there's a need of some sort. A couple different methods I've done. One that worked really well at PAC 321. Sounds a little direct. It's really direct and it's a little harsh, but at our first meeting of the year, every single year, we had a big piece of butcher block paper, and every single job we wanted filled was on that piece of paper hanging on the wall. And we did games with the kids. We did a normal scout meeting, and we said to parents, everyone's name needs to be on that piece of paper for everyone to see. And we literally had somebody waiting at the door and nobody left until their name was on the piece of paper. I know that's really direct and that might be a little uncomfortable for some of us, but like I said, maybe you can't be the den leader, but you can bring the cupcakes, can't you? Or you can be the photographer, or you can be just, even if it's a small role, get them started on something, no excuses. So, Mr. Grun, how do you feel about that one? Is that one crazy? Is it too direct, or do you think that might be useful?
If you bring me cupcakes, I think that'd be great. Yeah. Or did I hear that wrong?
But what do you think about my basically making everyone sign up for something?
Yeah, I mean, there's that I've seen that approach happen where it's gather all the parents at a table and say, okay, well, your den needs a leader and you're the parents and one of you has to be the leader, so don't leave until someone volunteers. And then it's basically a staring contest until someone blinks, which is, that's a reluctant leader, so maybe they won't do a great job. But in the end, you have to have someone who has a vested interest in a den. I give Mike credit for, you said you're in 2 dens. Do you have kids in both dens? Your children? So, I mean, you don't necessarily have a vested interest in that den, except for the betterment of the pack. Whereas the parents should have a vested interest, like you say, Heather, as far as, I'm investing my time to spend with my child and for the betterment of them, and the others can come along. But
I'm speaking more, yes, den level stuff is tough, but like committee level. So I'm looking for all these committee jobs to be done in all these different committees, and I'm saying somebody
committee level is tough. I've recruited someone that I thought was spot on for a role, and they did well, but then they weren't thick-skinned enough to deal with some of the feedback that parents give in a maybe not so nice way, and they just said, I'm out. And that's a tough thing. In the same way, recruiting a Cub Master, which falls on the charter rep, which I do as well, is that you think you find somebody and you realize that maybe they're not the person, and the person that you wanted, in my case, the person that I wanted to be the Cub Master ended up as the Cub Master now. because he saw someone else fail at it. So, you know, with the absence of one person, another person steps in. And at the troop level, it's different. I know you were hitting a little bit on troop stuff. At the troop level, it's different because some parents, when their children age out, they still want to be involved. You know, like yours, you know, our sons are 21. And so at the troop level, it's different because you can come in, hang out with some kids, make sure they don't hurt themselves, and then move on, you know, and have a weekend. Whereas with Cub Scouts, you are very much vested into them. So I guess personally, when I see the kids at PAC meetings, I try to make sure that I'm engaged with them and that they're smiling, because if they're smiling, then they're more likely to say, yes, I want to go back to the PAC meeting. I want to do this and I want to do that. And some kids are I don't know if anybody else have had the experience. It's like they're not used to being talked to when they're standing next to the parent. Like the kids are maybe just ignored when someone's talking to them, like, oh, really, you're talking to me? Like they have worth at that point.
So if the paper on the wall is too direct and too aggressive for you guys, another idea is listing all the committee jobs that are necessary, either on a Sign Up Genius to say Scoutmaster, Mike, committee chairperson, and every job is listed. And that, because the cool thing about Sign Up Genius is that you can see where there's vacancies still, and it's just in time information. So if there's a hole there, it needs to be filled. It's just, my point is to communicate what's actually needed and what needs to be filled. Another thing,
at every PAC meeting, if there's an opening, it's said. Like,
okay,
we're still looking for people in this
Yep.
role, and it should be said. It should be
yes.
told to the parents that we need more volunteers, and even if some people have a slight interest, to get 2 people to have a co-chair, that's good too.
So 2 points I really want to make sure that we cover is one, so recruiting, it's about relationships. It's about building relationships early. And there's a couple ways we can do that. I can honestly say that I'm friends with almost all the parents that my son grew up through the program with. I kept going to meetings when he was 16, 17 years old because I wanted to go see my friends. So we did things like Mom's Night Out. So all the moms in the PAC could go out for dinner and get to know each other. It just takes one mom to schedule it. Everyone go out for drinks or go out and have a good time. But the point of that isn't so much to have the good time. It's about getting to know each other, and from those relationships, that's where I get my volunteers from. That's where I said, oh, Mrs. Rackers, would you mind volunteering to be the blah, blah, blah? And I mean, that's exactly how I do it. So it's, yes, I like friends. Yes, I like going out, but it is a strategy of getting to know people and building those relationships. I invite people over to campfires a lot. I invite people to go out for dinner. All those types of things help you. It seems like it's just extra stuff, but it's about building those relationships to then make the direct ask to say, I personally don't have a lot of success in sending out the general email. Hey, I'm looking for somebody to bring the milk to the next PAC meeting. Nobody will respond, nobody. But if I say, hey, Nathan, would you bring the milk to the next PAC meeting? I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. Hey, Nathan, would you be the den leader? You know, blah, blah, blah. That direct ask is really important. Lions and tigers. The program says each parent is supposed to take a turn leading a meeting. It's not just the den leader. Make sure your den leaders are following that program. And I'm really bad at it actually, because I'm really good at running den meetings, but I try to get my parents involved because I know that if they get a taste of running that one little den meeting or that one little activity, it's going to lead to something else. So make sure your den leaders are following that lion and tiger programming of parents taking a turn at those meetings, because it hopefully the treasurer next. I think those are good ideas. It looks like we have 1 minute left, so I want to see if there's anything else on my list I missed. But start with relationships and follow up. I just talked somebody into being a den leader for our new girl den. And I'm going to check in with her, make sure she's okay. I helped her put together her meeting plan for the meeting she's running on Thursday. So I'm going to mentor her from the back end and check in to make sure she's not overwhelmed. Those are things you can do as Scoutmasters and make sure that that transition and eventually she'll be able to stand on her own feet and run that program. So be that resource for those leaders, or tell them, hey, would you be a leader? I will help you through this and get you started. So, wow, that was amazing stuff, wasn't it? You never thought of it before, did ya? That's just all brand new, right?
Thank you, Heather.
You're welcome. I hope some of it was helpful, but don't be shy is the bottom line. And don't do it all yourself. None of us can do that.
Okay, we'll see you in the main room.
Sounds good.
Hey Ryan,
Hey, Matt.
you done anything for Wood Badge or no?
What do you mean?
Well, like, my paperwork's been turned in, but have you like done anything like getting your beads or anything?
No, remember you and I were going to get them together at a
Oh yeah.
round table, but
If those ever happen again in person.
yeah, when those happen, we'll address our beading ceremony, I suppose. So it looks like we're all back. Thanks everybody. I hope I know on the Scouts BSA side where I was, it was a fantastic discussion led by Mr. Rich of Troop 218, and we want to try something a little different. This is something we used to do with index cards, and it's something we're going to try to do with the chat feature in Zoom, and that is, if you would, please type a message over in the chat while we continue, just when you get a chance, of anything you would like to see in future roundtables. And that can be either, if you would, specify, do you want it as a general topic, or do you want it as a breakout topic? So if you guys go there, we'll make a note of them and incorporate them for future roundtables. So this is another reminder, something we really want to emphasize and hype up here, and make sure everybody knows about this, and that is the council-wide roundtable is going to be in November. We will not be having a district roundtable next month. Instead, there will be a council-wide roundtable. That'll be Wednesday, November 4th, from 6:30 to 7:45 on Zoom. And this is our, so we won't have one then, but we'll take these topics that you guys give us and we will incorporate them in our December roundtable.
Do we have any knowledge of what this agenda is for this roundtable?
I do not. Nathan, do you happen to know?
Can't hear you, buddy.
Sorry, my cat walked across my keyboard and muted my computer, not Zoom.
Oh, blame it on the cat. Okay.
Anyway, there's Truman. I know charter is going to be one of the things that they bring up, but some of those topics are still being finalized. On a separate note, though, I did actually create a survey for topics. I've got a couple that are here, but if you want to add it to a survey instead, I encourage you to fill out the link that I just sent. Otherwise, I'm writing the ones that have come through in the chat box.
Okay. What we're going to do next is a little bit different. We are going to do a soft close with the outdoor code, and then we're going to go over a few announcements. So after we close, if you want to leave and you don't want to sit through some more announcements, you may feel free to do so, but we are going to cover some pretty good information if you want to stick around, and you can ask questions. So, Scout sign, please. As an American, I will do my best to be clean in my outdoor manners, be careful with fire, be considerate in the outdoors, and be conservation minded. Sorry, had to cough there. All right, so continuing on with some announcements. We really want you to look at, actually Heather on the call created a fantastic Facebook page. It is Three Harbors BSA Troop Pack Crew Volunteers. You can look it up on Facebook. Lots of just amazing information is being shared there. Ideas for cub outings. Just today, somebody was asking how, actually Mike Carey from Pack 57 was asking about how we might work on some unit advancement, some of the new rank advancement in Cub Scouts. People have been sharing camping ideas, good spots to go camping both for troops and packs. So this is a really great one. There's also, so find that on Facebook if you're on Facebook and like it. Also, there's the Southern Shores District, our own Facebook page. That's primarily for sharing of information and news, but you also get some great stuff where people hype up things that they've been doing, as well as Advancement does a really nice job of drawing attention to our new Eagles. So Nancy, are you on yet? I know you're going to be late to the call.
All right, I guess not.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and cover her stuff real fast.
Thanks.
So we got a Cub Scout STEM and Nova event on November 14th. Nancy's actually leading that, so I really don't have a lot of information. I guess they're looking at a possible day on the 5th. For winter events, we're looking at a joint Cub Scout and Scout BSA Klondike. There would be age-appropriate activities for each group. So stay tuned for that. It'll likely be a one-day event, but we are considering the possibility of having a overnight camp Friday night, weather depending. So it's Wisconsin in the winter. So if you're prepared to camp in 3 feet of snow, it may be a fun challenge. Scouting for food, that's going to likely look different going into next year. That'll be information that will come down hopefully in January, what we know that campaign will look like. And for a Pinewood Derby in 2021, we're going to go ahead and try to do that, but the idea is going to be a virtual Pinewood Derby. If you have any questions on activities, you can reach out to Nancy at southernshoresdistrictbsa@gmail.com.
Thanks, Nathan. And if we have 3 feet of snow, that would be fantastic. And we could build Quonset huts, which, by the way, Victor Buendia shared on that Facebook page I mentioned some links to how to build Quonset huts. So if you're not on that Facebook page, you're missing out on a wealth of information. Victor was also going to talk about, and he shared this on that same Facebook page, but Victor was also going to share some ideas about camping and options for outdoor things for cubs. Like, so there's not camping at Haven Woods, but right here in Milwaukee County, we've got the Friends of Weir Nature Center and Haven Woods State Park. It's the only state park in the city of Milwaukee, and it's pretty cool if you haven't been there. It's also a great place to go in the winter and go snowshoeing. There's a number of other really not far sites where you can take your scouts and do either day outings or camping. Mukwonago Park has a number of campsites. It's a county park. There's Richard Bong State Park. It's a restored prairie. It's pretty fantastic looking. Kohler Andre, I'm sure we've all been there, but that's super cool. And then things like you could do a Zoom camp out. You can do that with Cubs or Boy Scouts, Scouts BSA. But we'll share these slides, but there's a very simple agenda here for how someone might do a Zoom camp out. And with that, Heather, would you please speak to advancement?
So just a couple slides here about advancement. Troops, I'm talking to you. Eagle COVID extensions are still continuing through December 31st. if your scout has a legitimate reason COVID has impacted their ability to do their project, hi Michelle, I see you smiling. But so
what? Nothing.
so your scout needs to have a legitimate reason why. It can't just be because I procrastinated, but how has COVID impacted you? And those and certainly we have plenty, and they are real and they do exist. So up to December 31st, I can approve those. And they're only for life scouts. So if you have, oh, say a first class scout who, I recently had a first class scout apply for an extension because of COVID, unfortunately, because he procrastinated a little bit in getting his advancements going before 18. Sorry, I can only approve him for life scouts. That's the current national policy. So if you have problems like that, contact me. I will help you any way I can, but and talk with those parents or those scouts if necessary. And please, please, please keep an eye on gotoscouting.org. In the search bar, this is exactly, please go back for one.
Yep, sorry.
Search bar, go back into COVID FAQ. That is where you're going to find all the COVID facts and some of the policies that have been changed during this special time. There's a number of advancement points in there. I went over them last month. I'm not going to go over them again right now. But they're all listed on scouting.org. And please read those updates because they do impact your youth at the cub and the troop level. So please take a look at those. Go ahead. And then I want to take a minute just to talk about some training here because this is a really complicated topic that I'm trying to simplify for all of you. Some of you know this very well, some of you don't know it at all. And it's a little confusing for those of you new to it. So we're off painting.
Heather, it seems like, is Heather breaking up for everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
And I don't even hear you now, Heather.
Talking about scout map.
I'll shoot her a message real quick.
Huh. It's usually everybody else slowing down and I've stayed the same when everything glitches out. It's not that way usually.
So since we've lost Heather, I'm just going to let you guys know that there is a couple of webinars that are coming up. Emails should have been sent on some of them. You can sign up. I'd encourage you to. There's obviously a lot of different things going on with extensions and rank advancement changes. So those would be the areas where you can learn about that, or you can learn more about being an Eagle coach and a mentor, what goes into that and what the expectations are to serve in that capacity, as well as a Life to Eagle training. That's something I actually sat through when I was, 14 years old, learning the ins and outs of what it was going to be required of me to be an Eagle Scout. I'm assuming that's kind of the same thing, having not been through it in a while, but it's a great opportunity for the scouts and the parents that are involved to learn about that process. So Ryan, in Heather's absence, I'd say let's go ahead and move on.
Okay.
She dropped off completely.
Sorry, my slides don't seem to. Is that my last slide, Nathan?
It might be.
That would explain why it's not advancing anymore. Okay. With that, I'll stop sharing. Anybody have anything else they want to bring up for the good of the district, or questions about things? Yeah, Mr.
I have a
Ronsvu.
question. I was going through my JTE for this year, and I'm wondering, I don't know if Nathan can answer this or not. Are they adjusting JTE for next year for the fact that COVID's going on?
Yes, I
they
can
are?
answer that. Yes, they are.
Okay.
I don't have full details on exactly how yet, but it will be adjusted. That was actually, so we really wanted to pare down the slides and do fewer announcements, and that was one of the, I cut a bunch of mine, but yeah, they are going to adjust for COVID.
Just wondering. So,
Yeah, I mean, obviously, service hours in particular are going to be tricky.
okay. All right, thank you.
Thanks for bringing it up. I mean, if one of us has the question, likely 5 of us has the question. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Thanks to those who commented in the chat about future topics for both breakouts and major, main roundtable.
Ryan, I have one other thing for everybody here. You know, the Riverbend Nature Center, they do a lot of different things, a lot of different merit badges they offer. They have canoes there. They rent out or allow. So it's a great resource. It's right in real close. So if you haven't, check it out, get a hold of them. And they do nature studies, sustainability. There's a lady, she can do that and help your troop or the scouts out. So just something to consider.
And Ed, where is that?
It's in Racine.
Okay. Anything else from anyone? All right. Well, thank you all very much. And remember, no roundtable for the district next month. We will have the all council roundtable. So I look forward to seeing you all there. Have a good week, guys and ladies.
You too.